We make space for our faculty to deliver some just-in-time current events in every course. We know that we can't build a course and that course would have a multi-year shelf life. Things age, and we want to be able to teach the latest and greatest. There's books and books written on the failure of airlines and airline mergers because leadership competencies weren't taught or weren't practiced at the upper levels, the mid-levels, and the lower levels. Our students want synthesis, they want application, and they want real-time relevance. So when they walk into their first day on the job or a new job or a promotion or whatever it is they're looking to do with their education, they feel like they can do the job on the first day.
So Dr. Glassman, thank you for taking the time to join us here today. Obviously, you're joining us from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University based in the United States with your campuses in Florida and Arizona, as well as locations around the globe and online offerings with your worldwide campus. Now, Embry-Riddle is quite unique. You've been established for 100 years now. This will be as of 2026. And today you're one of the largest fully accredited universities specializing in aviation and aerospace. You offer a mix of in-person and online classes, and over time, your global renown has led Embry-Riddle to be referred to as the Harvard of the skies, quite a high acclaim in the industry. So today, what do you think defines Embry-Riddle's identity, and what do you think continues to set it apart in the global ecosystem?
Well, first, thank you for having me. The Harvard of the Skies label is something that we're extremely proud of, and it's been built, well, for generations and decades. I myself have been here for over 15 years, and I've watched the university grow and mature over time. One of the things that I hear continuously, and I see this literally around the world, is when you mention the Embry-Riddle brand, people look. People say, oh, I've heard of that. It's one of the most known and probably well-recognized brands. And that's because, well, for the last almost 100 years, we've been walking alongside aviation and aerospace, helping it grow and develop and mature, both as kind of a discipline and as a fun place to work.
Quite interesting that you mentioned that. And again, coming to your history, which you just mentioned, close to 2 decades that you spent with Embry-Riddle. Just looking at your own personal journey, what continues to inspire you today, especially in your position and role as department chair?
Oh, it's the people. It is always the people. First and foremost, our students are extraordinary. Their background, their experience, just who they are as people and what their dreams are. They keep me up at night. And this isn't work, by the way. I've never worked a day in my life at Embry-Riddle. It's fun. The second group of people are my colleagues. We have an amazing group of faculty, fresh from industry with amazing backgrounds and experiences that bring this curriculum to our students. So between the two synergies, it's just a fun place. And quite frankly, I've never worked a day in my life here.
You know, that's so fantastic to hear, especially having an environment and an ecosystem where you're not just learning, but you are, having a chance to experience something different, something new, and enjoy it within the process. One topic that I do want to bring up right now, especially bringing it to modern times and current times, this digital age where there's so much tech, there's so much innovations in the industry, be it AI and new technologies coming in, and we really can't understate the influence that these innovations, be it tech and AI, and how they influence the modern world and our exposure, especially to learning and how we learn especially. So with these transformations that we're seeing, how is Embry-Riddle integrating these technologies such as AI and machine learning and virtual reality as well into your academic programs?
That's a great and timely question. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month now, came back from an airport technology conference. Our faculty all over the world attending technology conferences, as we speak right now, actually. And the fascinating thing is the role of technology, while AI is new and on trend and cybersecurity and all these other fun topics, they've been around aviation for a while. The first autopilot, the first auto landing were all technologies. But now we're in a place where airports, for example, can do movement tracking. And on a concourse that doesn't see a lot of incoming flights, they can choose to service the restrooms less often because they're used less frequently. In other concourses with more flights, technology can track individual users down hallways and queue times and wait times. It's fascinating how AI has been integrated. Airlines are doing the same thing. We're seeing that on the ancillary revenue side, where we can predict who's going to purchase what, who's not going to purchase what, and at what price, so we can bring the most value to the customer humanly possible. All of this is only doable with advanced machine learning and what we now call AI. But without these things, well, we wouldn't be doing our jobs as a technology forward university to not include these in our curriculum.
And I think it's rightly so that you've highlighted there that AI is already within our industry to some degree. You mentioned autopilots there. And I want to come to an aspect where how is AI currently influencing or playing a role, or maybe expecting to playing a role in Embry-Riddle's curriculums, particularly taking a look at some of your engineering, operational safety trainings. How is AI being integrated and playing an influence there?
Like any technology, it's a tool, and the tool has all kinds of capability. Most of the capability is extremely positive, and we talk about the virtues of using tools in positive ways. Of course, there's misuse of tools, but we shy away from that and we educate on the difference. We want to make sure that all of the tooling that we equip our students and embed in our curriculum, and as an extra layer, deliver through our curriculum, are the right things. So we have internal committees as well as external constituents and stakeholders through industry advisory boards that look at what we do and validate that what we do is the correct thing and that it's moving in the direction of industry and that we're remaining on the leading edge of what needs to be taught. So when our graduates leave our programs and walk into the halls of industry, they're not only prepared, but they're prepared to bring their employers forward.
One point that you mentioned there, especially on some of or an aspect of misuse of either these new technologies, these new innovations. And when you take a look at aviation, safety has always been and will stay the cornerstone of our industry. Now, how do you approach maintaining and reinforcing that safety culture, especially within your learning environment, as the world and global industries increasingly adopt, either automation, digital learning tools? How do you stay focused on safety?
So it's a cornerstone principle. Airlines want to be reliable, profitable, and safe. It's one of those cornerstones. Airports want to be efficient, reliable, and safe. Again, you'll hear the same thing twice. So safety is something that we talk about and teach everywhere. And how things roll up and funnel up in complex systems to the impacts on safety can't be understated. So almost all of our curricula, including business courses, economics, places you might not think you'd see safety. Safety and risk management and those types of decisional conversations are literally everywhere in our learning. Because again, airports and airlines have the same goal in their trilogy, and one of those is safety.
I want to take a look at the training and more the evolution as well of certain curriculums. And just looking into your history to give this context, you've been involved in Embry-Riddle's undergraduate and graduate programs, touching on aviation safety, be it business management, some human factors, as well as leadership courses as well, which are very much instilled in your curriculums. Taking a look at ERAU's training programs and how they've evolved, how are you facing some of the newer or nuanced topics such as cybersecurity, sustainability, unmanned systems? What's your approach when it comes to that aspect of learning and innovation?
So we make space for our faculty to deliver some just-in-time current events in every course. We know that we can't build a course and that course would have a multi-year shelf life. Things age, and we want to be able to teach the latest and greatest. So one of the ways that we do that is we give faculty the freedom and flexibility to bring in current events, their own background and experience. I've had faculty members attend board meetings at major airlines on a Wednesday and bring the learning from that meeting into a class on a Thursday. So this real-time integration of both current events and kind of the leading edge and, well, real time, I guess a day is near real time, but it's close enough, allows our students to see the best of the best and to really not have that kind of aging issue that other folks might have in a curriculum that isn't touched as often as ours.
That's quite interesting there, especially you've just highlighted having that proactive approach to teaching and instilling that knowledge. Again, making sure that your students have access to current information, modern information. And I think that's so significant today in seeing how student learning styles and expectations have changed. How have you adapted to engaging students, especially in this new era of education?
Oh boy, our students have information at their fingertips. They have rapid access to almost anything faster than ever before. So the ability to take a 200-page book and summarize it into a 3-page PDF is something that ChatGPT can do in a few minutes. That didn't used to exist, or maybe a Notebook LM type product. Our students want synthesis, they want application, and they want real-time relevance. So when they walk into their first day on the job, or a new job, or a promotion, or whatever it is they're looking to do with their education, they feel like they can do the job on the first day. It's not a lot of learning. There's comfort, there's familiarity, and the curriculum ports directly over to what it is they want to do from an employment point of view.
Now, you've mentioned ChatGPT there, and it's almost impossible to have an interview today
I know I did. I had to.
and not really bring it up, and its influence across multiple industries. It could be learning or it could be in the work environment. Could you give us some examples in terms of the innovative approach that you have, and especially on the hands-on learning? That's something that you do focus on, whether it's in the cockpit or in the hangar, in simulators, or in that virtual classroom. Just give us a bit of a touch on some of those recent innovations that Embry-Riddle is focused on.
So we use a lot of tools and technologies, whether it's a virtual crash lab, a business simulation system, or leveraging things like ChatGPT to have kind of, group A, group B battles within a classroom. We do all kinds of things along those lines that allow students to both compete, gamify to some extent. We know that students enjoy gamification, and they enjoy the idea that just like in corporate America, corporations compete. Our students are competitive, and they enjoy it. And even a small point lead will keep them up at night, drinking the energy drinks to make sure that they're doing the best possible job that they can. However, tools like ChatGPT and other technologies are amazing time savers and points of efficiency. So, to some extent, whomever uses the tools of the trade the best actually gets ahead. So, we like to teach and integrate those tools to make sure that, again, when we're in the workplace, we have authenticity in what we do. We want to make sure that students understand what it is that they're doing. They're not just doing it. I mean, ChatGPT will produce. I guess I could write a paper on something I don't know anything about, and it would produce it beautifully and elegantly. Ask me 2 questions, and you'll know I don't know what I'm talking about. So we really want to make sure that the integration of concepts is there, so that our students and their minds are what's always in the lead, followed by the tools that make them efficient.
You brought up authenticity there, and especially in your student experience, where again students get to experience a very fun, innovative environment, a modern environment, especially today, an environment or a program that's tailored to the modern world today. Now, most students, when they're looking to, enroll into a program or, looking to the future in terms of the end goal, as in where will I be placed, after I go through my enrollment, could you share about the student journey and what that looks like today in Embry-Riddle? Again, from enrollment right up to job placement. What does that look like today?
So it is an individualized journey. We will walk alongside you the entire way, everything from first point of contact to wanting information about a program, up through graduation, through job placement services, through our amazing career services team, and then beyond with all aftercare. So it's a whole life cycle within the student journey, and all the touch points along the way scream, we care. Because, well, we do. We want our students to be extraordinarily successful and feel kind of, wrapped with the Embry-Riddle brand everywhere that they go. It's a point of pride, and they should show that pride willingly. Now, that's a customized journey. We have some students, especially our military students, who are extremely mobile around the world, different time zones, different kind of operational tempos, and we can adjust our learning and our touch points to accommodate all of those differences. Everybody should have the experience that they want. And we want to make sure that we deliver that experience alongside those needs.
Now, something that I've picked up on, especially looking into Embry-Riddle, I myself also being a student of the aerospace engineering path as well, something that you focus on quite avidly is preparing students with the technical skills, and right alongside that is instilling in them as well the leadership and interdisciplinary competencies that are required as well as a modern day approach today to operating in aviation. How do you approach and prepare students to instill that leadership and those interdisciplinary competencies?
So we kind of use the flight deck as a role model. You can have amazing technical skills on how to fly the aircraft, but if you can't lead a team, understand crew resource management, and all the things that make the aircraft holistically successful from a journey's point of view, you've missed the mark. So all of our students, whether they're business students, aviation or aerospace students, etc., all have the same kind of flight deck mindset and role model. We need those leadership competencies. We must be able to work within corporate America and the corporate landscape. That includes teaming. That includes all of the soft skills that help us work together efficiently and effectively. That also includes that whole leadership bubble. And that's, how do I grow in my career? How do I level up? How do I prepare myself for the next step? A lot of our students, especially those in that middle 30s age bracket, they're already employed. They're looking to Embry-Riddle to help them level up into their next career path or to the next rung in their career ladder. Having a holistic approach to how we teach and train the curriculum is what enables them to do that successfully, both with the technical competencies as well as the holistic leadership skills that go alongside those competencies.
Now, taking a step back, and I want to look at the broader industry here, because a very important aspect to, again, someone's enrollment and job placement is the market that they're entering into. Now, when we look at the market today, there is global demand across various, if not all roles, across aviation, be it pilots, engineers, technicians, ATC, cabin crew as well. And just to break that down, there's a prediction or forecast rather that up to 1.5 million new civil aviation professionals will be required within the decade. Breaking that down further, that's approximately 300,000 new pilots, up to 600,000 new engineers, over 70,000 ATCs, and over 700,000 new cabin crew. Again, a very massive demand that we see in the market over the next decade. How are you responding to that demand?
First, it feels good to hear you say those numbers. Aviation and aerospace has always been on the leading edge. And yes, there are hot and cold periods historically. That's normal in a cyclical industry. But Embry-Riddle has responded through growth. We have grown our faculty, we have grown our capacity, we have grown our curriculum, and we've also doubled down on our focus as an aviation and aerospace institution to make sure that we're serving our largest constituents, and that is the aviation and aerospace sector. Our goal is to produce the next employee of some of the largest firms in the world, and of course, smaller firms and mid-sized firms along the way. But we want to make sure that we're producing the caliber of graduate that is able to work anywhere that they desire, anywhere in the world. And that's an important burden for us to shoulder, but it's one that we can and do deliver on daily, and we're proud of that.
Now, as part of that alignment in terms of the academic output for that real world demand, there's a significant part, or shall I say partnerships, there's a significant role that partnerships play, be it partnerships with airlines, with MROs, OEMs, or other aviation authorities to meet this demand and the academic output. What are some of the most impactful collaborations that Embry-Riddle has today to meet that demand?
That's a fabulous question. We're doing work in Brazil and Singapore. I just returned from 2 trips to Dubai, working with an MRO out in the Middle East. I've personally done work in Brazil. I've done work in mainland China, and literally all over the world. It's fascinating to see the reach of aviation and aerospace, and to really kind of see where we're headed from a partnerships point of view. We have partnerships with almost every domestic airline. We have partnerships with the core 30 airports, which are the largest hub airports in the United States. We also have partnerships with FBOs, the fixed-based operators. One of the things that I am proud of, and it fascinates me, is that when I go to conferences like MRO Americas in Atlanta and beyond, or as well as go to the Core 30, I personally cannot walk through an airport without somebody stopping me and having a lengthy conversation about just aviation and aerospace. Because even though aviation is global, we're actually a pretty small, tight knit community. And we often run into each other everywhere that we go, of course, aboard aircraft and at airports. But it's interesting to see the interconnectedness of the brand with the industry, and it's tight.
Talking about that community, the aviation community is very interconnected in its own way, and this is globally all around the world. And something that you brought up early in this interview is the work that you do together with military and veteran communities, especially considering you have your live campus programs and online campus programs as well, but in particularly supporting the continuing education and industry reintegration. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely. My first job here at Embry-Riddle was teaching at the Norfolk Navy Base here in Norfolk, Virginia. I also taught at Oceana, Elizabeth City, occasionally Fort Eustis, and other campuses that are all on military bases. We have an extremely large population of transitioning service members and active duty, veteran, and affiliated students. And this is a point of pride. We're a military friendly institution, both in practice and by label. And it's fun to take the background, skills, and experience of a service member and then springboard them into potentially a different career or a different career trajectory. But the discipline, the honor, and all the things that go with service to our country aren't lost on Embry-Riddle. A lot of our faculty, when we go to graduations, and the MC says, well, all those who have served in the military, please rise. 2/3 of our faculty stand up. 2/3 of our students stand up. 2/3 of the audience stands up. Now, that number might not be perfect at every graduation, but it's an impressive showing as to the commitment Embry-Riddle has to the military and the response that the service member sees as value in our brand.
That's really inspiring, just to hear again how integrated your community is in being very inclusive and very wholesome of all the communities within the industry. And something that we did touch on earlier, but I want to just hammer down into it now, is your focus on safety culture and leadership. And really, that safety culture, it begins in the classroom. And how do you instill that mindset of safety, of resilience and responsibility within your students right from day one, especially when you're looking at disciplines such as maintenance, operations, and air traffic control?
So I would say it begins with systems thinking and complexity. You need to think about everything as an integrated system. Even the desire from an economic point of view to increase revenue, save a dollar, increase, or should I say decrease turnaround times or increase customer satisfaction. That has a downstream implication to safety, sustainability, and resilience. These things are extraordinarily interconnected and cannot be taught in a vacuum. It just doesn't work. So if you begin every conversation in a classroom with, well, here's a decision we're about to make. What are the implications on our resilience footprint, our sustainability long term, or our safety culture, or just our overall safety footprint? It's fascinating to hear how students dialogue about things they might not have ordinarily thought about, but bringing that to the forefront allows that conversation to lead. And our industry needs the safety conversation to lead at all times. So it's a win-win from our point of view.
Especially on the aspect of that leadership culture. Obviously, you, within your curriculums, you offer, leadership certificates, leadership programs, and MBA programs as well within aviation. In your view and perspective, what role today does leadership play, especially in training and shaping the next generation of aviation executives?
It's critical. It is so critical, we couldn't do it without. So we've designed a curriculum to where the leadership competencies are built in to almost everything because we believe in them. And we've seen organizations fail that don't embrace them. We've seen entire airlines fail. There's books and books written on the failure of airlines and airline mergers because leadership competencies weren't taught or weren't practiced at the upper levels, the mid levels, and the lower levels. The entire organization needs to be a believer and buy in. And only when that happens is the organization successful. And that's a powerful statement, but it's a testament to the importance of those leadership competencies and why we double down on them and teach them in pretty much every curriculum.
Now, just looking ahead here, and obviously we've spoken very briefly that, it's an exciting forecast where there's great demand in terms of the work that the industry needs to do in pushing forward the pipeline of the next generation of aviators coming into the industry. And of course, what excites you the most about the future of Embry-Riddle, especially in aviation education, and what can we look forward to over the next 5 to 10 years?
It's a beautiful question. Aviation is full of major milestones. We had first in flight, then we had airlines, then we had the jet age, then we had supersonic travel, then we had the space age. We are now in the midst of the technology age, and that is a fabulous place to be. And I'm lucky to be alive and be a part of this, to see how technology is going to drive us even further forward. Whether it's uncrewed systems, urban air mobility, modernization of our national airspace system to incorporate all of these different types of traffic and traffic loads. What's a modern city going to look like in the future, considering air mobility? These are questions that are yet to be answered, although we're in the discovery and building process towards those answers. So I feel blessed that I'm able to be on the leading edge of what I would consider this new technological age of aviation, if we had to give it a name. It's a great place to be.
And as a final closing statement, especially considering that we are in this technological era, what advice would you have for young aviators, or just aviators in general, or people aspiring to enter the aviation industry? What's your advice to them in terms of where they enter and what they can experience going forward?
So my advice is simple. Soak up as much knowledge, wisdom, and learning about aviation, aerospace, technology, and the future as you possibly can. Use different media channels, use futurist channels, use all of the different social and professional platforms, and just learn, learn, learn. Read as much as you can, upskill as much as you can, embrace discomfort. This is going to be an uncomfortable time. There's a lot of change, a lot of newness, and a lot of uncertainty. But one of the things that we do know as aviators is that we're a resilient system. So even though it might be a little uncomfortable, challenge and push yourself to go the extra step, to learn and to embrace the future. The future is where we're headed. It's coming whether we're ready or not. So I encourage you to be prepared.